You've heard of Navy SEALs, you've heard of Delta Force? But what if I told you there are elite special forces units so secretive, most Americans don't even know they exist? No patches, no press conferences, no public missions. They operate in the shadows, gathering intel, hunting high-value targets, executing missions so sensitive that even Congress doesn't always get briefed. These are the ghost warriors of America's special operations community, and today, we're going to open the door, just a little, and give you a rare look inside the units that go in first, leave last, and never leave a trace. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be asking yourself, how many wars are we fighting that the world doesn't even know about? Let's get started. Everyone knows the big names. Navy SEALs, America's elite maritime commandos. Delta Force, the Army's premier counterterrorism unit. These are the headline grabbers, the ones Hollywood can't get enough of. From bin Laden's compound to hostage rescues in the Middle East, these Tier 1 units are the tip of the spear. But even they don't operate alone. Behind every high-profile mission there's usually another team, one you don't hear about. A team that's already been on the ground for weeks, gathering intel, tapping enemy comms, painting targets, a team that officially doesn't exist. Let's talk about ISA, the Intelligence Support Activity, known by many names, the Activity. Task Force Orange, Gray Fox. They're the deep cover operators who hunt down the targets before SEALs or Delta even leave the base. ISA was formed in the early 1980s after the failed Iran hostage rescue. The mission failed because intelligence was lacking. So the Pentagon decided to fix that by creating a covert unit dedicated to real-time battlefield intelligence. No bureaucracy, no delay, just results. ISA operatives are trained in espionage, surveillance, encryption, linguistics, hacking, and close-quarters combat. They track enemy movements, intercept communications, and even impersonate locals in foreign war zones. Their job is to find the enemy and clear the path for the kill teams. They were involved in the hunt for Pablo Escobar. They helped track Saddam Hussein before Delta raided his spider hole. They laid the groundwork for the bin Laden raid in Abbottabad. But you won't see their faces on magazine covers, because if ISA does their job right, no one ever knows they were there. Their motto, send me. Simple, ruthless, quiet. That's how they operate. And they're not the only ghosts in the machine. Let's talk about MARSOC, the Marine Raiders. They were reborn in 2006 as the Marine Corps' elite contribution to U.S. Special Operations Command. But their legacy goes all the way back to World War II, when the original Raiders were America's first special operations force, leading daring amphibious assaults across the Pacific. Today's Raiders specialize in direct action, counterterrorism, foreign internal defense, and special reconnaissance. They deploy in small teams, operate in austere environments, and are trained to fight side by side with foreign forces or take out high-value targets themselves. While MARSOC doesn't get the spotlight like SEAL Team 6 or Delta, make no mistake, these Marines are just as lethal, just as elite, and just as fearless. They've operated in Afghanistan, Iraq, Africa, the Pacific, and places that still can't be named. And in many cases they've worked alongside Delta and ISA, forming hybrid task forces that blend strengths from each branch. Now here's where it gets even darker. The Air Force has its own secret warriors, Special Reconnaissance Operators, part of AFSOC, the Air Force Special Operations Command. These specialists work behind the scenes, inserting into denied areas, jamming enemy radar, deploying drones the size of a soda can, and feeding live intel back to operators on the ground. They're the eyes and ears of the battlefield, and in many cases, the first boots in country. They'll identify enemy positions, disrupt air defenses, and vanish before the first shot is even fired. Without them, SEALs and Delta would be walking blind. And then, there are the teams with no name at all. These are the ghost teams, blended cells of ISA operators, Delta Force shooters, SEALs, CIA paramilitary officers, and cyber warriors. They operate outside traditional chains of command, often on missions so sensitive they're never formally logged. You'll never see them on a PowerPoint in a Senate hearing. Their operations don't get press briefings. Sometimes, not even the Joint Chiefs know the full story. They go into places the US government can't admit we're even in, and they leave no trace. Some of America's most decisive victories, you'll never hear about. Some enemies are already dead, and no one outside a handful of operators even knows why. That's the nature of this world. Quiet professionals, silent victories, zero recognition, total impact. So the next time you hear someone rattle off SEALs in Delta, remember this: there's a whole network behind those missions, the activity, the raiders, the recon teams, the ghost operators. They don't fight for medals, they fight for the mission, they fight for each other. And they fight so the rest of us never have to know what it really costs to keep this country safe. Which of these shadow units surprised you the most? Have you heard of any others you want us to cover in a future video? Let us know in the comments. And if you're proud of the warriors who operate in silence, hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe to Veteran Spot. We bring you the stories the mainstream won't touch, the real history, the real warriors, and the truth behind the uniform. Stay sharp, stay strong, stay free.